Today, he is leading our discussion, mission, vision, and core values. As leaders, you have the opportunity to create leadership clarity and employee engagement within your organization by being intentional in the development of your corporate culture. So Randy, go ahead and share your screen. I will get out of this. If Randy, you will go ahead and share.
Okay.
And Mr. Stevenson will take over and I will disappear.
Do you see my screen correctly?
We can see your screen, Randy.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm going to make myself disappear and the floor is yours.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm here in the new Better Business Bureau facilities, and they're great. They're beautiful. And I'd hope we'd be able to do this live in their facilities, but we are all aware with the COVID issue, and I think they're not quite 100% moved in. Keith, maybe you'll be able to do yours live next month. So as Coleman said, my name is Randy Stevenson. I've lived here since '91 with my family, and I've owned several businesses, and now I have the privilege of giving back, helping business owners and entrepreneurs, and it's really great through Convene. Today, I want to share with you some of the things that I deal with and help business owners deal with, and CEOs, as well as second level and third level management people. We're going to talk about some of the challenges most of you face, and that would be complexity, being all the complexities of your business. How do you sort things out? How do you handle your schedule? How are you organized? We look at blind spots. We all have blind spots. You'll see my blind spots today as we talk. We all have blind spots, but we need to try to make ourselves aware of them. And how can we do that so that we don't make big errors, big mistakes? People challenges as our companies grow. How do we organize our people, keep everyone moving in the same direction? And then if you're a person of faith, how can you integrate your faith in our society today without imposing on others, but yet living out your faith as you see fit? And then profitable growth. Of course, it's all about if we don't have a business that's profitable, we're not going to be able to grow, and we're not going to be able to take care of our families and the families that work with us or for us. So I want to share real quickly something I've observed in my 45 years of business and in my studies as the what I call 4 stages of entrepreneurial or business success. Every business at one time or another was an entrepreneurial venture. First of all, you have the survival stage. Can we make it? Are we going to be able to survive? Then we go into a growth stage. If we get past that survival point and we grow, we take business on, and then we get to an operational level. And here's where a lot of companies plateau out. And this is where you see management feeling, in business owners and CEOs thinking, my gosh, why am I doing this? I'm stretched in 1,000 directions, and they're just putting out fires right and left, and they're operational, but maybe they're not operationally efficient. And then few businesses step into the development stage, which is where you really pour back into your company, you refine it, you set in the processes and procedures that will allow you to grow, and you're planning for long-term success, to include succession planning, strategic planning, and implementation. You know, we find that strategic planning, that's a real fun term to toss around, and a lot of us have seen these strategic plans that are 2 inches thick, and they sit on your bookshelf and you pull them down once in a while. I like the 1 or 2 page strategic plan outline, and of course there's backup behind it, but it needs to be an implementation and execution plan as well. So in those 4 stages, I find that the error, and I don't know if you guys can see my mouse or not, Coleman, if you can let me know, I'd appreciate it. We have the operation, at that operational plateau is where a lot of folks get stuck. And I have, okay, we did a survey looking for leaders' pain points. And do you know that the number one problem, the number one reason people feel like they're stuck at that operational mode and pulled 1,000 directions is because they're unable to develop a team. They have their key people, but it's hard to keep people moving in the same direction. And doing what the leadership needs to be doing in unity to progress the business in the right direction. And then a lot of leaders feel like their leadership skills, that's the number two, right behind developing leadership teams, is their own personal leadership skills. They need to develop themselves. And we're going to talk about 3 of the 5 keys, I think, that can help you build your leadership team. It is a different world once you have a team in place and everyone is walking and working in sync. But it takes work to get there. And I'm going to give you some tools today that will hopefully move you down the road to building your team. And if you have a team, maybe learn how to pull them together by building your culture. The third and fourth issues, stress points, pain points of these leaders were growth. How do we grow our company? And then how do we handle the increase in sales that come with growth operationally? And execution of processes and metrics, and how do we make sure we're growing and we're more profitable, not less profitable? Then I think out of some 20 items on the list, we come into 5th and 6th, we come into COVID and change, dealing with change. And I'll tell you, change is a big deal. People don't like change. We don't like change. And organizations don't like change. And it's hard to bring change about. People they feel insecure as you go into change. And there's a way to handle that. But we have got to be change agents for our organizations. Do you know, in my dissertation, I had the privilege of interviewing several very successful entrepreneurs and business owners, people that have been in business for about 20 years. And one of their number one items that came up that allowed them to be successful, long-term successful, is the ability and willingness to change with the time. So we have to be progressive. And we're going to talk a little bit about that before we get into mission, vision, and core values. And then, of course, overload, CEO overload. And that, my friends, ties back into leading your team and building your team. If you get your leadership plan in place and your people there and everyone's moving together, then you're able to not have such overload. One thing you'll notice here is with all of these, directly or indirectly, it's all about the people. It's about the customers, and it's especially about the employees in the leadership teams. So I want to talk a little bit about people, and kind of as a preface. I don't know if you recognize this. I wish we were live because I like to ask questions and have feedback during, but I will, through this, when I have a question like this, I'll answer from what I'm thinking you may be thinking. But a lot of you may or may not know what this is. This is the one thing I learned in freshman psychology at the University of North Texas back in the 70s. And it stuck with me throughout the years. This is called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I'm going to back it up because of I think you can see it better. What does this mean? Well, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow is a very well-known psychologist, and he wanted to look at the needs of the human being, the needs of man. And he said on the very first level at that bottom where it says physiological, the first thing we're concerned about as people all around the globe is food, water, warmth, rest. We've got to take care of our bodies. We have to take care of the needs of our bodies. The second level of need, once you get that achieved, then you're looking for safety. So you're looking for security, maybe housing, a safe place to sleep at night, a safe place to put your family. So we want safety. Then you go into belongingness and love needs. Relationships, that's where family comes in, friends, organizations, intimate relationships. We all have a need socially for that. And then you get into esteem needs, which would have to do with prestige, feeling of accomplishment, proud of the hard work you've done. We like recognition as human beings, and that's normal. And then at the very top of the pyramid here is our self-actualization. That is a self-fulfillment needs. What that is for people who ultimately what we want to do is be able to achieve our full potential, don't we? We want to be everything that we can be. I mean, however we're wired, whatever we're doing in our life, if you're playing professional baseball, you want to win the World Series, right? So if we're in the business world, we want to be the best business people we can be. We want to represent ourselves and our organizations in good light and do well. And at the end of our life, be able to look back and be satisfied that we gave it all. We left it all on the field and that we were able to achieve some things. And in that, we need to have creative room. We need to have room to flex our muscles once in a while and have the ability to back off when we need to, but we're ultimately working towards fulfilling our potential. Now, the bottom two are our basic needs. And, folks, let's just face it, we don't really deal with that as much as the rest of the world. 80% of the world, this is a struggle. I've been to Africa several times. I mean, a lot of folks are struggling just to eat food every day, much less have a safe place to sleep. And then the next two are psychological needs, the social needs and the esteem needs, and then the self-fulfillment. But everyone, wherever you are on there, ultimately we all want that self-actualization, and that's why I'm bringing this up. I don't care if you are the janitor or the dishwasher. I have a client who owns several restaurants in Dallas. And we were talking one day, and he was talking about the fact that the wait staff gets the tips, but it's a team effort. He's trying to figure out how can he share that? How can he leave most of the tips with the wait staff or good hefty portion and share the rest with the people in the kitchen and all of them, even the dishwasher. And we kind of stopped there, and he said, come to think of it, the dishwasher, he could be the most important person in the organization. And I asked him why, and he said, well, we can have great food, great service, but if there's food on someone's fork or a smudge on someone's glass, they may or may not come back, and it affects everything. And so the lowest man on the totem pole, the dishwasher, could really be the most important person in that team of making it and breaking it. You can overcome a lot of things, but it's hard to overcome food on your fork, folks. I can tell you that. And so we developed a way to set up some metrics so that we could measure that and actually give him a bonus and elevate him and basically put him in that top triangle, the self-actualization, letting him be a team player and maybe the most important player on the team, equal with the chefs. So these are the kinds of things that I think what we're going to talk about can help you think about and do. Really Patrick Lencioni, and I saw one of his books in your office earlier, Coleman. He's a great consultant and a great coach. And I would encourage you, he has a book on this, The 3 Causes of Employee Disengagement. And I call it The Root Causes of Job Misery. He says irrelevance, immeasurability, and anonymity. Irrelevance means what I do doesn't matter. My job doesn't mean anything. Just think of that dishwasher. I'm just back here washing dishes, and so is it relevant? I mean, how does your work affect the people that you work with? How does it affect the company? So we want to make our employees feel like their work is relevant. Immeasurability, most companies, and I can tell you, I work with companies that do hundreds of millions of dollars per year, and I've got some that do not even $1 million per year. But across the board, that is an issue. How do we develop metrics to hold our standards, to measure? And you know what? I almost said something that I've changed my philosophy on in the last 5 years. I almost said hold people accountable. I had a banker contact me last year, about a year ago, and he said, I need to develop metrics and so I can hold my people accountable. And I said, well, you know what? Here's how I would ask you to think about metrics. Scorecards is another term. I said, rather than looking at it as a way to hold people's feet to the fire and hold them accountable, look at it as a way to allow them to be successful, because people want to be successful. Folks, I'll tell you, as leaders, people don't want a paycheck with a boss. They want to be on a team with a leader. They want to be on a team, and they want to be able to contribute to that team. And so if they have metrics and scorecards and they know how they're doing in their job, then when the boss calls them into the office, they don't have to wonder, I wonder if I'm getting promoted or if I'm getting fired. They know week to week, month to month, quarter to quarter, year to year, how they're doing, how they're standing up. So that's real important. We talk about that in EOS and in some of the other things I do. Anonymity is a big one. That is where people don't care that I'm here or not. No one knows me. I'm disconnected, totally disconnected from the leadership and even my peers, and disconnected from the company. So we've got to find a way to have that connectedness. And I think what we're going to talk about today will help you do that. So the leaders we need to look at, I think one of the primary things we need to do is develop the culture and work climate. Listen, you have a culture, a corporate culture, whether you as the CEO, if you're the CEO or part of the leadership team, or even a manager of a division, you have a culture. Now, whether you develop that culture or not is irrelevant. The employees will develop it for you, and often it's not a good culture. But you as a leader have a responsibility to create the culture that represents and reflects your company, and also to create a good work climate. A work climate is, what does it feel like when you walk in the room? Is it negative? Is it positive? How do I feel? In change management, you've got to deal with change just like this COVID-19. And as you do, you look at long-term sustainability and success, and what do you need to do to provide that, and what kind of internal changes do you need to make. So we can achieve a lot of this above here if we have a well-written mission statement, we have our core values in print, we have customer value proposition, we have a vision statement, and we have goals and strategies. So today we're going to talk about the three legs to the stool, which is mission, core values, and vision. We can't get to everything in one session. So I want to run real quickly on COVID, talk about COVID and change. You know, when we deal with change such as COVID, the COVID-19 issue we have now, or any other issue, market changes. I mean, look at what the internet has done to so many industries. It's allowed the birth of so many, but it's also caused others to crater and to cease to exist. But we have to be, as leaders, we have to be actually forward focused. We need, as I said earlier, the surveys have shown, and the studies have shown, that long-term successful business people actually anticipate change. They look forward to it, and they are prepared for it. And I want to give you a couple of tools real quickly that I'm going to send you this PowerPoint if you like, and you can look at this in more detail, and also feel free to contact me if you have questions. I'm going to give you two.
Well, folks, it would appear as though we're having some sort of internet connectivity issues. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. Dr. Stevenson sent me his PowerPoint. So I'm going to pull it up on my screen, and I'm going to invite him to come into my office and do it. And that way he can finish up.
Okay, guys. So here's what I want to do. We're going to talk about mission statement, core values, and vision statement. And I have a question for you. I want you to take a couple of seconds here, about 30 seconds, and go ahead and answer this question, if you don't mind. Does your organization have a clearly written, compelling mission statement that has been well communicated and shared by everyone?
We'll make it work.
Okay, are we good? Michelle, do you end the polling or do I? Here we go. Okay, so I'm not sure what they're doing there. Let me go ahead and continue on the mission and vision. So there's a lot of there's not a lot of clarity at times between mission and vision. And I'll ask someone, do you have a mission statement? And they'll go, yeah, our vision statement is this. Or do you have a, but let me, for clarity, I think a good way to look at this is a mission statement will answer what your company does, who you do it for, and why do you do it. What do we do? Who do we do it for? And why do we do it? That is our mission. And then the vision statement is a proclamation of what we desire to become or accomplish with our organization. Let me see if I can go to the next slide. Okay, folks, we're having all kinds of issues here. Oh, there we go. So a mission statement typically is one paragraph or one sentence. And again, it answers the 3 W's. What do we do? Why do we do it? Who do we do it for? It's organic. It's beyond money. It's not about money or dollars. And it must be meaningful and ignite passion. And a good way, if you don't have a mission statement, and a number of you did not, and but a surprising number if you do, mission statements typically, if you have a mission statement, chances are you can't repeat it. It should be something everyone in the organization or for sure the leadership could repeat because it does have meaning, okay? And it tells a lot about you. And so the way you develop your mission statement, if you don't have one, is what I do in a group is I will, you need a team and a facilitator, give everyone a stack of large Post-it notes, and then have them brainstorm individually. And so we're going to do that right now. I want to give you about 30 seconds just for practice, maybe a minute. Let's go for a minute. 30 seconds. I want you to tell me, write down what you do. What does your company do? And what I'm looking for is if you own a hamburger joint, that's what we call it, a hamburger place, you could say, you might start out saying, we serve hamburgers. Then you may go to, we serve food. And then you may think, you know what, we bring happiness to people around a meal. I want you to think outside of the box. And when you have your leadership team, and that's what you would do is get your team together and have everyone individually just be creative and think out of the box and jot on these Post-its one idea, 1 or 2 or 3 words on each Post-it, and go from there. So if you've done that, why don't you then take the next question for about 30 seconds and write down, who do you do this for? Who do you do this for? Who are your customers? And then the third is, why do you do it? It's not enough to say what you do and who you do it for. Why do you do it? Do you serve great food to families to bring joy and community? Or, I mean, I don't know, So take about 30 seconds and write down some reasons why. And you really want to spend about 45 minutes on this exercise with your team. Why do you do what you do? Okay. So once you have in your leadership team, once you have everyone's written those 3 W's, you have 3 stacks for each person. Then what you do is what we call affinity grouping. You get, just like the little picture shows, you get up there and that says something different, mission and vision, but you get up there and what you would do is you would group all the things that are the what we do. You would group those together. You would group the why we do it together, and then who do we do it for? And you would come up with a theme, and it's really magical. You can see this thing, the enthusiasm. You see your team working together, folks. This is a big step in creating that culture, because what happens when your team participates in writing the corporate mission statement, they have buy-in. It now becomes theirs. And that is critical. Now, let's say you work for a large corporation and they have 1,000 retail units and you run one retail unit. I work with folks like that. I encourage you to have your own mission statement. Of course, it needs to go dovetail into the corporate mission statement, but what is your mission in your unit? And same for vision and core values. So anyway, let's take a look at some of the mission statements. Chick-fil-A is to be America's best quick service restaurant. Okay, I can't read everything because of the way this, winning and keeping its customers, I think is what it says. Clark's mission statement: our passion is to listen to our customers and deliver a product that allows the consumer to feel the pride, respect, and trust of everyone at Clark's company. That's real strong on why they do it. They do it because they want to evoke pride and respect and trust. And then the next one, I wanted to ask you if you had any ideas on who this is their brand new one. I don't even know if it's public, major corporation. We move the world forward by delivering what matters. I don't know if this one's been made public yet. We move the world forward by delivering what matters. UPS. Well, I'll tell you, they're having to adjust to change. A lot of companies are. So one of my clients, a local company, and they gave me permission, K&L Recycling, I want to tell you, they just recreated their mission statement. And it says, our mission is to create value for customers and team members with honesty and integrity to the benefit of the economy and the environment. Now, K&L Recycling, they changed their name, and as a result of this mission statement, they're kind of redoing everything because I'll be honest, I've talked to them, I'll be frank with you, their leadership team would kind of like, well, we're just in the recycling business, we're just in the scrap metal business, this and that. They have a big company, very successful, locally owned, nine brick and mortar facilities around the state and out of state. And they have a good business, but when they talk about it like that, we needed to rethink it, because what happens is they devalue what they do and it devalues the employees. So instead, we got to thinking, and they came up with that the why. They do it for the benefit of the economy and the environment, because basically they're helping to clean up our world. They're taking scrap metal and shipping that to wherever it needs to go so it can be melted and reused, and it helps clean up the environment. Do you know the week after they came out with that, they hired a manager who said, I like your mission statement, and that's why I'm attracted to your company. I have another organization here locally who has a very strong mission statement, and they attracted a very senior level employee who moved from another city to go to work here. And I don't know that the money was any better, but it was because of their mission statement. Like I said, people want to be on a team with a leader. They want to be with a group that's going somewhere. And that can and should be you, should it not? So the benefits of a mission statement is you gain wide understanding of your organization. It's a guide for strategic decision making, helps you avoid mission drift. If you're going to go off in left field, then you need to redo your mission statement, and it helps begin to form your culture. One paragraph or sentence: what do we do? Who do we do it for? Why do we do it? Must be meaningful. Easy way to start is our mission is to provide, or our mission is to serve, so on and so forth. So the next one of the three is core values. So I'd like for you to do the survey again, Tammy, if you could, about core values. Do you have clear, written core values by which you operate, you hire, you review employees, you reward employees, and you fire employees around them? We'll give it just a few seconds here. Okay, I think we're good. Tammy, can we move forward? Okay. So core values, purpose and definition. They tell what do we stand for in the context of our organization's mission. They set a standard for conduct and behavior. There are written criteria, in my opinion, for hiring, reviews, and discipline. Don't hire someone that you know is not going to conform to your core values. They must be willing to fail. It must be something that you're willing to fail for. In other words, rather than violate a core value, you will turn business away. And it also has to require a behavior, certain behaviors. And your values plus your behavior will give you your culture. You want 3 to 7 bullet points for one-word values with a short description of expected behavior. It's got to be ingrained in the culture and in the work climate. Now, there are organizations, you know, the Ritz-Carlton. I met with the founder of the Ritz-Carlton one time, and he had not 3 to 7, he had 20, I think 27 core values. And he had those printed, and every employee working had to have that card with those 27 core values in their pocket if they're working, or they'd be fired. And he also highlighted one core value per day, and they would ask, the leaders would ask the employees, what is the core value that we're highlighting today? So it's important. And as I said, I think that for a lot of people who maybe are stuck in that operational mode and so busy that they're overextended and they think, how can I have time to do all this? You have to do this and taste it and get beyond it, and then you'll be less busy. All the successful people that I know, that I work with, have core values, and it defines their core code of conduct and behavior. They found it creates unity, and it provides ethical guidelines for your decision making. You do the same thing with your core values. You basically have a facilitator that will, and it could be one of your employees. I would advise it not to be the leader, someone that's not in the top leadership position. You have your post-it notes. You do individual brainstorming. I would ask everyone on each one of the post-its to write one core value of what they think. And at the end of the exercise, everyone may have 10 or 12 of them. We group them together and we merge them together, and then we select the top 4 or 5, 3 to 8 is ideal, and then go with that. That's a pretty easy exercise and very worthwhile. But again, you want to give it 30 to 45 minutes. And I think if you could tag on an extra 30 to 45 minutes after your leadership meetings, you could have all these done in a month in 3 meetings. Examples: integrity, boldness, honesty, trust, accountability, commitment to customers, passion, and fun. Now, these are the bullet points. You can also, a lot of folks will have integrity, then they'll spell out what it means. Again, the benefits are they'll define your code of conduct and behavior, it creates unity, and it provides ethical guidelines for your decision making. So be sure and focus on that. I actually have a grid that I give clients that they incorporate their core values into their hiring processes. HR people do. They'd rather pass on a good employee that doesn't look like a fit for the company, for the corporate core value. They'd rather pass on that person and hire someone maybe that isn't quite as strong in certain areas, but they're strong on the core values. You got to protect your culture. You work hard to build it, you have to protect it. Let's do vision statement. It's a clearly written, motivating, that says mission statement. That's a typo on my part. Vision statement, which evokes excitement and commitment throughout the company. Does your company have this? If we could do that survey real quick, that'd be great, Tammy. Okay, so I want to give you a little feedback. It's very interesting. Mission, vision, and core values typically are like individual people's wills. 80% of Americans don't have a current will. 80%. And I tell them, well, you do have a will,
It's just that the state of Texas, if you live in Texas, has written it for you. If you die without a will, the government will determine what happens to your stuff. And the same thing with your culture. If you haven't built your culture, you have a culture. It's just that you've allowed some employee to build it for, or a group of employees to build it for you. And I will say this, the majority of you that have responded, I get to see your responses. The majority of you, 2/3 in some cases, do have mission, vision, and core values, and that's above normal. So I'll just attribute that to the Better Business Bureau, some of the great speakers they've had, and the fact that you guys are thinkers and you're taking the time right now to do this, to work on your business instead of working for it. That's the hard thing about doing these things. You've got to be able to pull yourself out of the box of working within your business to work on your business as an owner. And that's what we do with those full-day meetings and half-day meetings that I have. So let's see if I can go to the next slide. So vision statement is your picture of the future. So what I tell people is close your eyes, think about your business where it is now, think about your mission statement, your core values in the future and where you want the company to go, and then put that in writing. It's a mental picture. Andy Stanley says it's a mental picture of what could be, fueled by passion that it should be what you see. So that is a vision. That is what a vision is. And we have to have a vision to move forward. And this is the top part of that what we talked about earlier about the needs of people, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, blanked out there. This vision statement, if you have a clear vision statement, everyone, whatever their level is, gets to connect to that. So a vision statement could be one sentence typically, and I'm giving you these rules to help you with clarity. You need to adjust to however for your company, how you want to build it. But typically it's one statement. Where do you want to be in 3, 5, or even 10 years? 10 is a little long nowadays. You want it to be brief, easy to communicate. You want it to be inspiring. You need to know how you will achieve it, when you will achieve it. What does it look like? So how will you know when you're there? And I'm not talking about numbers and sales. That's a goal. Is it measurable? How will it feel and look? And you may say, well, how can it be measurable if it's not tied to sales? Well, we'll see you in a second. We'll talk about that a little bit. And at what point in time will we achieve the vision? And typically, you can just say our vision is to become, or our vision is to achieve, and you fill in the blank. And again, you do the same thing. You have your brainstorming session with your leaders, whether you're the CEO dealing with your C-suite of people, or if you're a store manager dealing with your shift managers, get them together. You want to build the unity, and this is how you can do this. So you want to be sure in that brainstorming, what does the picture look like? How do we know when we get there? And at what point in time will that take place? What is the target? One that I have that I like is of a local organization is in their industry, their vision is to become the dominant force in their industry in the state of Texas in 5 years. The dominant force. Well, you think that's a little vague. Not really. This is where strategic planning comes in. You take your vision statement and then you determine, okay, what does a dominant force look like? What market share do we have to be the dominant force? What do those revenues need to be? And then you just filter down what kind of facilities do we have to have and employees, and you plan from there to be the dominant force. But everyone in the company can remember that. We're going to be the best. We're going to be the dominant force in 5 years. That's everyone's goal in that company. Here's another one. This came from the Balanced Scorecard Institute. John F. Kennedy. I believe that this nation should commit itself to the achieving of the goal before the decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to Earth. Now, that really kind of looks like a goal rather than a vision statement, but he's painting such a drastic goal. It is a vision. He has no idea how they're going to get there. They have no plans. But that was the vision for the space program. We're going to put someone on the moon. Today, they'd be like, we're going to put someone on Mars in 10 years. And if we had a raise of hand, I think we'd be all of us would believe someday we're going to be doing that. Look at Sears. This is not a good statement, and we can all know what has happened to Sears. Theirs was a compelling place to shop, a compelling place to work, a compelling place to invest. There's nothing compelling about that statement, except that it says they want to have a compelling store. The John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy's vision statement, it creates emotion, and that's what you want to do with yours. You want it to have excitement, perseverance. You want it to create perseverance. You want it to be meaningful. You have to have a benchmark. You want it to be, you want it to, it will help you in your strategic decision making and goal setting. All these things will help you in your decision making, because you don't want to get off track with your mission, vision, and core values. And again, it will help you form a culture. One sentence, emotionally inspiring, mental picture of the future with a date of completion. It serves as a guide. So what do you do with all this? Well, you want to communicate this. You don't just do it and put it on a shelf. It should be in your boardroom, your conference rooms, in your lobby. You should have tell your customers, your vendors, everyone you work for, this is our mission. These are our core values. It should be on your website. You should it should be a part of all communications. You have to tell people over and over and over for it to stick. And so you should take the time to develop a well-written mission statement, vision statement, and develop core values that you're proud of. And then they should be on everything. You need to update those every few years. I'd suggest every 2 to 4 years. So what do you want to do with all that? You want to encourage the ranks. You want to have recognition ceremonies to recognize maybe that dishwasher. You want to have achievements in place that people can win for the organization, and you want to work on that and build your culture. Now, I've got one more thing I want to touch on. Normally, I would ask people, what does this look like? Who is this guy? And the guy is, most of the answers I get, a janitor, a man sweeping the floor, a man mopping the floor, a cleaning company. But I'll tell you who that is. That is a man, John F. Kennedy, we already mentioned. He started the moon project, and he went to the new facility in NASA and was taking a tour in the middle of the night. And he was walking down the hall with all his security people, and he looked in a room and he saw this man. And he went in to ask him, "Sir, what are you doing?" And the man said, "Sir, I'm helping to put someone on the moon." Now, that is the night cleaning shift, and he's bought into the vision. And that's how you should be. That dishwasher at my friend's business should have the same connection to the vision. This is a strategic maturity, management maturity model. You can look at it later. You can see at the top, you've got leadership, culture, and values. And if you ever have a question about this, call me. I'll be glad to share it with you, talk to you. You can get it I think Coleman's going to make all this available to you. And remember, success and change is mostly attitude. It's about building the culture, folks. I know we're running out of time. I have one tool for you if you like. This is what I call a one-page strategic plan summary. You can see where you have mission, vision, values, value proposition, and you have goals. Feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to share that with you. It's a great little tool. And I think that's it, Coleman. I know we're out of time. We had some disruptions with the internet. I apologize, folks, but it's been a pleasure to be here. And I'm going to trade seats with Coleman. Yeah, God bless you.
Okay, Ronnie, hold on. We had some questions come in. I'm going to poke out right here. So we had some questions come in, and you kind of answered it. You kind of answered it for us when you were there. But oh yeah, I was watching on my phone too. How often would you recommend that they change or reevaluate their mission statements? And how often do you see those things actually change every 3 years?
Okay, so I would recommend you review. You have a strategic planning meeting every year. So annually, you should review it and see if they're still current, if things have changed. My gosh, with all the technology changes we're having, it can change every year. So I would at least encourage a review annually. You might find yourself rewriting them or changing them every couple of 3 years.
Okay, so we're going to make this work. We're just going to pass the laptop. Another one of the questions came in was, how do you convince the bosses that they need to sit down and do this? You know, those that plan, we're too busy, we don't have time. How do you
Okay, that is a great question, and it is a tough one. Now, if you have your own unit or department, you could get. I've seen people go to their boss and say, "Here's what I really think we need to do. If you don't want to do it for the company, can we do it for my department, for my division, and let's see how it works?" And it can be a test model for you, sir or ma'am, and that works well.
All right. If you have any other questions, Randy has left his information down there. I want to give, that was excellent use of making the lemons out of lemonade, because as Randy said, we have moved into our new office building, and now we have identified where a possible Wi-Fi weak spot is located. But Dr. Stevenson, we appreciate you. We will be sending these slides out. This webinar, we'll edit it and we will put it up on our YouTube channel. So if you would like to go back and listen to Randy and what he had to say, we will send that link out as well. Folks, we do appreciate you so very much, no matter where you were watching from. Thank you for staying with us during the technological, I won't call it a disaster, but it surely was a hiccup at that one point. We appreciate you all. I believe Miss Tammy is going to stop the presentation whenever she wants to, but thank you all, everybody. We look forward to seeing y'all digitally, and we will send out all of the appropriate information otherwise. Hold on, okay, I'm gonna roll back. So Miss Sandra said, please show the slide again that had the percentages on it. Okay, I think that was the effective leaders slide. There you go, Sandra. Just about competencies of a successful business leader. Randy, if there's anything you'd like to add to it.
Yeah, it was a surprising study to me. It's not about skills, knowledge, and ability, but it's about attitude. It's what goes on up here overrides, because really in the study showed that attitude actually drives the development of skills, and skills come from knowledge and ability. So thanks for that question.
There you go. Sandra, hope you got that one. We appreciate you guys. We'll scroll to the end here. Again, we will be sending out links and whatnot, both to the video and to the PowerPoint. It is 12:27 Central Time. We are done for the day. Thank you. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful day.